All right, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, I can hear myself in the monitor. All right, cool. So what's happening right now, everybody? Now, I know we said this was going to start at 6 o'clock and that the movie was going to start at 8 o'clock. But what's actually happening right now is that the film actually is playing right now. So if you go over to dailywire.com, and I'm going to leave this comment up here so people can see it. So the movie is right now streaming. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the screen with Alvin Monanego, who is the former roommate of George Floyd. So I'm running at about 1.52 speed, depending on what's going on the screen. I'll be finished the movie right around 7:30 or earlier if I really go fast with this thing. The runtime for this film is 1 hour and 18 minutes. So what I'm going to do is you're going to watch me watching this film on the screen. So I'm not going to take off the camera. If you want to chime in here, how's it going? Right show. How are you guys doing? Awesome. So I'm gonna continue watching this film, and I'll break in between, and as things come up. So, but at some point I'm gonna break hard, and then that way I'm gonna have to jump off and prep for the after show. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. What's actually happened is I think Daily Wire was pretty slick. They said this is going to drop at 8 o'clock because they knew all the trolls are going to be out there. But then they dropped it at 6 o'clock, or actually dropped it around 5:30 to beat all of that. It was just really smart to do that. So it's up, and I'm gonna watch it, and you'll watch me watching it. And you may hear some in the background through the speaker. So that's what's going on. All right. If you're just joining in, the film is actually going on right now. I'm watching it real time. If you want to comment in here, you can. I'll break every few minutes, but I'm trying to get this film done by about 7:30. I'm running at about 2 times or 1.5 speed. So if they start talking, I got to slow it down. So, but I'll let you know what's going on the screen. Right now, I'm at the 8-minute, 19-second mark where you have Alvin Monanego on the screen where it says former roommate of George Floyd. I'm taking notes, and that's where we are. So let's keep going. So his roommate's going into his house to talk to Candace Owens. So he says George Floyd still gets mail. They're showing pictures of George Floyd and his family with his roommate. I'm sure you hear some of it. I'm sure you hear some of it. So Candace Owens is coming onto the scene now. He's walking the door. Too much feedback, guys. Hold on. So the family is saying is that George Floyd was a decent person living in this household. This is about 5 years prior to everything that went down, and they're saying if he was bad, he hid it from them. But supposedly, talking to Teresa Scott and Alvin Monago, who is his former roommate, and Candace is interviewing them on the couch right now. So again, if you're just joining us, the film is up as you can see right there. I'm watching it now, trying to get through it at double speed so I can talk about it on after show. So that's why I'm not saying anything. Okay, so all right. So hey Mark, how you doing? So again, if you're just joining, I'm watching the film right now. It's really interesting. Up to this point, Candace Owens is at the house of Alvin Monago and Teresa Scott, former roommate of George Floyd. Basically, he was a choir boy inside the house. They don't know what he was doing outside the house. However, Candace confronted them because George Floyd was basically saying, "Hey, I'm a big the N word that the cops have it out for me, so I'm going to try my best to comply." But then Candace asked them directly, why didn't he comply? Well, not really. She didn't say that. She said, don't you think had he complied, wouldn't it's been different? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. And basically on the screen right now, it says, contrary to popular media depictions, it was George Floyd himself who asked to be put on the ground, which is what I said and many people said. And by the way, if you guys don't want spoilers, I'm blasting spoilers here. You may want to jump off and come off. We're gonna try to get the live stream going around 8:30. Hey y'all, this is hot, yo. He's talking to his boys, and like, yeah, how do you feel about Black Lives Matter raising $90 million and using his face? And it sounds like they ain't happy about it, which is exactly why CNN, MSNBC, all these people didn't talk to these people. So yeah, this is gonna get good. This is crazy, y'all. So this shot says George Floyd's family was trumpeted. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Let me go back here. Sorry, I can't show it because of copyright, obviously. It says here George Floyd's family was trumpeted throughout the media and receiving overwhelming. Come on, it's too fast. I'm going double speed. I need to slow it down. Let me stop and get over. Come on, hurry up. All right, here we go. George Floyd's family was trumpeted throughout the media and receiving overwhelming support from celebrities and politicians. This is Terrence Floyd at the media. This is George Floyd's brother, with Crump behind him. Crump is the defense lawyer, total scumbag. Well, I shouldn't say that, because that could be liable. He could be considered a dishonest person. So, despite George Floyd's family making the media rounds, none of them ever came to his home to collect his belongings. So they didn't really care. They're not really cared about him. I have to be really careful what I say on this live stream. I have to be really careful. So I'll just, yeah. So where George Floyd lived, no one came to see him at all to get his stuff. It just stayed there. It seems to me that they didn't care about him more like they care about them. Well, again, I gotta be careful what I say. On the live stream, I may say more. so so essentially Candace is finding out that he only had one kid through DNA tests, and Candace is saying, look, I'm not going to worry about that because that's not what I'm here for. I'm not Maury Povich. Hey guys, if you don't mind, if new people come into the chat, can you just tell them what's going on that's actually being on? I can't show everything and the comments as well, but just let people know that it's on thedailywire.com if you don't mind, while I'm watching the film. Man. In 2007, a woman named Arcely her Henriquez received a knock at her door from a 6'6" man in a blue uniform claiming to be from the water department. This must be where he yeah, okay. When she opened the door, she and several other men forced their way into the home, pistol whipped her. I don't want to say that because I don't want to get this thing demonetized. Basically, they attacked her, and yeah. So George Floyd was not an angel or choir boy all the time. 6'6" man with blue uniform later identified George Floyd Hernandez's 7-year-old son was present. Her 7-year-old son saw her mom get attacked by George. So what Candace just did, she just talked about the whole thing about George Floyd going to the house and being arrested for attacking the woman in front of her 7-year-old child. She's like, look, only a few years later, 7-year-old children are going to be wearing his T-shirt. She said that's not right. And that's why it made her mad. That's why she made that video, giving the truth about it. And we actually did a video on that as well. You can go check it out. It's called The 7 Reasons Why People Don't Like Candace Owens. But the premise of it was about the George Floyd. Okay. All right. So a year before the whole George Floyd incident, where he died. They're showing a arrest video of him being arrested by the cops, calling for his mama the same way he called for his mama back. I guess that was in 2020, right? And what they're saying is that mama wasn't his mother. Mama was actually his girlfriend, and it was misinterpreted. So they use that as a narrative as well. Sounds like. And they're showing a clip of his girlfriend on the stand. Her name is Courtney Ross. Let me write that down. Courtney Ross supposedly, well, not supposedly, I'm looking right at her. Had her name. Well, she was identified on George Floyd's phone as Mama. So that's the thing. So Mama was not his mother. Mama was his girlfriend. Now she's going to Derek Chauvin now. In 2007, on March 17, 2022, Candace spoke with Derek Chauvin's mother, asking her to add her voice to the documentary. All right. So what Candace is saying now is, you may have seen in the trailer, which she said super frustrating. What that was coming from was she was he was on the phone with Derek Chauvin's mom, asking for permission so that she could, let me see, get her side of the story or get his side of the story. Now at the time they were appealing, but she could speak, but the lawyers shut it down. And so they basically were going to do the same thing for appeal that they did for the actual trial. And Candace is like, that's the worst thing you can do, because you're not going to get a chance to even remotely change public opinion, because this is a documentary and I'm a big voice. And so you're doing something that's really dumb. And so she's frustrated by that. You're getting the Derek Chauvin now, the whole narrative there, and how it was manipulated, as we all knew. Now he's talking to Sergeant Joey Sandberg. He's a retired officer, third precinct. I'm imagining he actually worked with Chauvin. Now he's talking to Lieutenant Kim Voss, commander, third precinct. So they're going through Derek Chauvin, giving a profile that was never talked about in the media from various people, from two people who work with him. saying he was quirky and awkward, but not racist. That's what they're saying. He's in maximum lockup, 23 hours out, 24 hours a day, no TV, no books, nothing. All right, so now they left George. They left Derek Chauvin. Now they're going to the owner of the store called Cup Foods. That's where he was arrested for the counterfeit bills. We're talking right now to Mike Abumyaye. That's how it looks. So, anyway, he's the owner of the co-owner of the store. All right, so sounds like he went to the Cup Foods and with the counterfeit bills, and the policy of that particular store was like, yeah, we don't call the police, just don't come back anymore. So sounds like he left, he went to another store to get cigarettes, and there he tried to purchase everything, and they didn't like it, and they called the cops there. And now they're showing the video of I guess it would be the first person police officer, we call it first the cop cam, whatever you want to call it, body cam. There you go. So they're showing that right now. All right, so this is Ron Martinelli, forensic criminologist, certified medical investigator. Looks like Daily Wire and Candace Owens did not. They didn't. They didn't skimp on who they talked to. So, by the way, people who are coming in now, this film is actually out right now in about 3 hours before it's supposed to. I think it was to get ahead of the hackers. So I'm watching the film now, commenting as best I can. If you don't want spoilers, jump off. And I may be sounding like I'm rambling, but I'm just trying to comment what I see on the screen to give you guys an idea of what the film is doing. And it's very interesting. He was absolutely resisting. Okay, so what they're doing right now, they're going through forensics of the actual arrest, saying, look, he was in handcuffs. They told him you were being arrested for counterfeit bills. George Floyd said, yeah, he acknowledged that. And so at that point, they're saying being handcuffed, being charged, being arrested, that George Floyd should have known at that point, whether he'd been under influence or not, to comply, to not resist. And he did. And they put him in the car with, they called it the maximum, I'm not sure the word they use, but in terms of face down on the seat, that's supposed to be the maximum secure position for the cops to use. And he was saying that he was claustrophobic, but yet they were like, okay, but you drove here in a car. How can you be claustrophobic? All right, so now we're March 8th, 2021, talking about the Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin trial beginning. So they're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. So Jerry Blackwell, the special prosecutor. Now they're showing the picture of him with his knee on the neck. Now I've had that done to me by a police officer, and that procedure that gets done, if you don't move, you feel nothing. You can totally breathe, but if you come up, that particular position, it forces you down, and then you have pain. So you control your level of discomfort. You can totally breathe. Now, that's what I experienced. All right, the widely circulated video taken by a bystander, the camera angle suggests Derek Chauvin kneeled on George Floyd's neck the whole time. It was on his shoulder blade. And that was in court that they didn't tell you about. It was testified in court that it was on his shoulder blade, not on his neck. We got to go to Rumble, man. Cause I'm really getting upset with this. Okay, so the forensic guy was saying here, who, by the way, before he said he has no dog in the fight, he's just telling you what's going on. He said the narrative obviously is, the neck, the breathing, I can't breathe, and all that. But there's evidence that says he took a fatal cocktail of illicit drugs, and I didn't finish what he said. So let me finish. So George Floyd himself said he took too many drugs under oath, and the person who said that, I'm gonna get the person. A toxic, lethal cocktail of fentanyl and whatever he's saying here, amphetamines. Okay, so James Ryerson, BCA senior special agent, it said that George Floyd himself said that he took drugs. He took too many drugs. He said yes. 3 grains of fentanyl on the head of a pencil is enough to kill anybody, pretty much. This is Andrew Baker, chief medical examiner, Hennepin County, Minnesota. So basically, they're basically saying they tried to hide the fact that he was on drugs, which they did. You remember that, and tried to say something else that he purposely tried to. Well, they say that he purposely killed him. The police body cam footage was also reveals George Floyd claimed that he could not breathe prior to being put on the ground, which is not true because he couldn't say that when he's in the car. And also, I'm saying this ahead of what the movie saying it because I already know what they're going to say. He also said that it was a fatal cocktail. The doctor was saying that. Cardiomegaly is what they're looking for. This is the forensic guy. He said that's just not funny, and I'm not laughing at it. I'm just laughing at the absurdity of what we've been told. Looks like he had Carter. Let me go back. Make sure I say it right. He had cardiomegaly, some sort of inflamed heart, and he said that if you have a cocktail like that, it increases your risk of death by 150 times, not percent. Okay, so it wasn't dealing with the drugs, but the enlarged heart gives you 150 times uh, likelihood that you could die of a catastrophic failure, heart attack, and the fact that he was under duress and the cops and whatever, that easily could have attributed. That's what he's saying. So there's no evidence of that he couldn't breathe. Period. So this is Harmit K. Dillon, civil rights lawyer, Dillon Law Group. So the drug dealer who's in the car with George, Morris Hall, was testified. He refused to say anything because he didn't want to incriminate himself. He was a drug dealer, suspected drug dealer of George Floyd. Says Derek Chauvin's lawyer searched the squad car and found a partially chewed up pill. Forensic analysis of the pill revealed fentanyl and methamphetamines, as well as George Floyd's DNA. The jury didn't see any of that. Come on, man. So let me go back here a little bit. This civil rights attorney is basically saying, let me just watch it again. Let me go back some more. So the jury didn't hear anything about the chewed up pills on the floor of the cop car. That was not admitted as evidence. What else? His drug dependency wasn't brought into it. His his several prior brushes with the law, that wasn't told to the jury. And his physical characteristics weren't presented in terms of, I'm assuming she's talking about the enlarged heart. And that's what they're saying, is that the fact that he could have died strictly from the drugs and everything else, that's ample evidence that he could have died regardless of anything about any knee on the neck, which they've already shown was on his shoulder and not on his neck, which was testified on stand. So that's not a guess. That's actually what it was. She's basically saying that there's reasonable doubt all over the place. That is showing Biden talking about, well, I'll skip over him. Maxine Waters, Jacob Fry, the mayor. Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to laugh. Oh my god. Oh, this is so, people who bought into this, like, so all right, so Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, is giving all these opinions about the case, and then they ask him, did you watch the footage? He said, no, I haven't watched it yet. Come on, man. We're not talking about a split second decision that was made incorrectly. told me the mayor of Minneapolis. I can't see it coming with a different answer there. Thank you. Have you seen the body camera footage yourself? No, I have not. Guilty verdict. I just want to thank the prosecutors. I'm going to thank the prosecutors. Breaking news. People all excited. Woohoo! Where's my OJ prize? Now we're showing Black Lives Matter got to get their thing on. And by the way, if you're just joining, nobody in George Floyd's family came to get any of this stuff. Visit him where he lived at all. So, and even though they said, I love George Floyd, I loved him, didn't go to see him once. According to Alvin Malengo and Teresa Scott, where he lived. Anyway. So if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. That's a quote from Malcolm X. Okay, so what Candace just said, look, there's no remorse. She said people don't care about it. All they want to do is they want to use your tragedy to build, she called it the temple of Black Lives Matter. And she said there's so many different people who do deserve to get their stories told. One such individual is local Minnesota news anchor Liz Collin, who faced the vicious mob over her marriage to Minneapolis Police Union head Bob Kroll. So the two people that you saw in the trailer sitting in the chair, the blonde and the guy, that's who they're showing right now. Liz Collin and Lieutenant Bob Kroll. So she's getting death threats just because she's married or engaged to a cop. And yet Alex Jones has to pay $1 billion for the things that he did. I'll leave that there, but this two-tier system is just disgusting. So her 7-year-old kid said, wait, so someone made a mistake? So people are stealing stuff from Target? Even the kids can't understand what's going on with this insanity. So this news anchor who's married to this cop, they're running her picture in a parade, in a rally, or I guess a protest, with her in effigy in Klan outfit. Ridiculous. This is in. I'm trying to keep calm here. Make sure you stick around and come over to our after show on Rumble, because I'm gonna cut loose on this stuff, man. This is absolutely ridiculous. If you're just joining, again, the film is playing. I'm going through it as fast as I can, two times speed, and right now we're at the 40:27 mark, and should be done probably in about another 30 minutes. Representative John Thompson did this. He was a representative from the 67th A District. His address is 633 State Office Building, St. Paul, Minneapolis, 55155. His phone number is 651-296-4277. You go check him out, Representative Ron Johnson. According to this documentary, he was responsible for running those effigy pinatas of a news anchor and her police husband. Because they were together, they considered them to be racist and worthy of death threats. So I'm gonna back up, make sure I got that right. So they showed a clip of the guy doing it. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is crazy, guys. So they destroyed this woman's career simply because she was married to a cop and she was a news anchor. During the summer of 2020, Black Lives Matter rioters caused over $1 billion in damages to small business owners, and a lot of them were black-owned businesses. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. All right, fix my screen. Among those businesses, I messed up. Hold on. Let me back up here. One among those businesses was the popular celebrity frequented boutique Kitson. And talking to Fraser Ross, who is the owner of this store called Kitson, Kitson. Whoa, he lost $400,000 worth of merchandise. So Chrissy Teigen, the one that Candace took down eventually, showing a tweet by her. She's a, if you know who she is, she's some low Z grade actress or whatever she is, celebrity. In celebration of whatever the F MAGA night is, I'm committed to donating $100,000 to bailouts of protesters across the country. Then she said, "Oh, I may need more money. Make it 200,000." And 30 million followers, and so that's what's going on here. So they're just going through her tweets. Jennifer Gardner quoted, gave it 5 hearts for this. So what you're saying is people, these celebrities with these huge platforms being used to promote this false narrative, which Candace Owens and Daily Wire and have done a really good job of taking us through the whole thing and breaking down all the BS that we saw. Um, that's probably the closest you hear me say a cuss word on this channel, but that's about the closest you hear me. But that's what it is. I don't know any other word to say without being ugly. I'm sorry. He tweeted to it tagged that actress. I forget his name right now. Basically, he said thanks. Let me go back. Yeah, he said thanks, Chrissy, for basically me being looted. And so her response was to his store getting looted was, "I'm not going to." Oh, it says, "I'm not going to shop at your store so hard. Everyone else has been everyone else has been doing for 10 years," whatever she means. Basically, what she's saying was no one shopped at your store anyway, so who cares if I got looted? And Jen Atkins is another actress or whatever she is, model. So he sells her products and she tweets out, "My apologies, we won't be anymore. Used to shampoo to help clean up the graffiti. And our looter hair cream doesn't come out until October." These people are absolutely evil. At this point, an influence that Chrissy Teigen and Jen Atkins followed, named Dana Amari, chimed in accusing Frazier of being racist. Of course, the person who's the owner of the store that got looted. Of course, he's a racist. So if you guys get your store looted by a bunch of thugs, you're a racist. So I believe I bet the best solution is as follows: blaming a woman of color. Of course, it's ridiculous. Just asinine. So this is extortion. So they're basically saying if you don't apologize, we're going to loot you some more. And it looks like the money went to Act Blue. Now, Act Blue, if you don't know about them, first heard about them back in 2018 during the midterms, where they flooded the congressional races, targeted upwards of I don't know $500 million or somewhere in there at the last month of the election, and swung huge blue districts like in California, in New York, in areas that are really heavily Democrat, and kept those and flipped red districts and was able to take the House. That's how they did it. They did last minute funding of targeted districts. And Act Blue is absolutely well, they're a political organization and they should not be uh, dealing with anything involving uh, a so-called charity like BLM. She said, if you don't repost this, I'll bring from back from the archive and I'll do another post about this unfortunate situation. Wow. So Candace Owens reached out to Dana Amari to get her side of the story. Dana claimed that she wanted Frazier to take down the post about Chrissy Teigen, but that he declined and offered on his own accord to donate to BLM himself. Yeah, right. So she lied on him. We pressed to clarify her relationship with Chrissy Teigen. She declined to comment. Let me stop right here. We got 5 people on. So let me just recap and go through some questions here we see here. Put some up on the screen here. Okay, you guys can see each other's tweets. That's fine. So I won't have to put them on the screen. Okay, so you guys are communicating. That's good. All right. So, all right. See you, Mark. All right. So anyway, if you guys are just joining or just didn't know, the film is up and I'm watching it right now. I think they did it in this way so that they could get around the hackers. So I have about, I don't know, about 30 minutes to go running double time. So 15 minutes left. I should be done this by definitely by 7:30. So right now talking to Pastor Dr. Charles Karaku. He's the president of the Unity Movement Institute. So basically, this pastor is saying that prior to George Floyd, it was a peaceful, typical, Midwestern town. But afterward, you can guess the rest. And he said there was a bunch of anger that was not typical for a Minnesite, whatever that's called, for a Minnesota resident. He said, "I'm used to this in other third world countries. Obviously, he's from sounds like he's from Africa, but he's not used to this sort of thing in America." So there's this area of this town. It's one of those autonomous zones similar to what they had in, I think it was in Portland. I didn't realize this existed. There's a sign here. Did you see it from the trailer? It says you are now entering the free state of George Floyd. How ignorant can you possibly get? He's basically saying that this is an autonomous zone that does not have to adhere to the laws of the land, and they can do whatever they want. It's all community based. Well, how about you refine your own oil for your gas stations? Or how about you figure out how to, produce energy to light your homes and to heat your houses? Okay, if you're that independent, you know, and who's going to come to your defense if there is a situation where, someone needs help, like a fire or anything like that? It's ridiculous. He said pregnant women getting shot, people getting shot, all kind of crimes happening. They can't do anything. Looks like they're in negotiation with the governments to. Uh, they're negotiating. It's like they're holding the town hostage. This little whatever they want to call it. Ridiculous. Oh my gosh. So they have a. Oh gosh. They have a mural on the ground. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It's like a person laying on the ground face down with angel wings and a crown, talking about this is where he died, and this is like, you know what, you should really watch Uncle Tom too, because Vadi Bolkman talks about this, about how we replaced the images of the church to images of graffiti and images of like George Floyd and the girl in St. Louis. I'm forgetting her name right now. Of course, Trayvon, all these people, making them the idols, the things of worship, and it's changing the culture, particularly in the Black community, because Uncle Tom was dealing with the Black community. But this is way worse than they even depicted in Uncle Tom 2, and they depicted a lot in there. So I'm sure they're probably going to come back in Uncle Tom 3, which is coming out. I talked with the guys over there. They're definitely making that. And maybe they can hit on some of this stuff as well. This is really, really scary and dumb. Of course, they have Black Power written on the walls of a Black business. Great. She's asking this pastor the question: is it possible, since the $90 million is not going back to the community? The pastor said it looks worse than it did before. She said, is it possible that they could use the whole George Floyd incident on the backs of emotionalism to prop up this particular entity for money and power. For political gain, for financial gain, to stimulate division. Right. So the only way they can get money is if they create division. They're helping themselves. So here we go, the section of the film called The Rise of BLM. The organization was founded in 2013 by 3 female activists during the Trayvon Martin incident in 2012. All right, so they're back. They was talking with the, I got the names written out here, Alvin Monego and Teresa Scott. That's the people where George Floyd was living with prior to, of course. And so those are basically saying that they didn't see any money whatsoever. I'm gonna go back here. First guy says here that Democrat politics got the money, and then Alvin and Teresa says we shared this place, right? And we went half on everything, the rent, light, gas. So what happened when to Floyd, everything fell back on me and Alvin. We don't have the title. They won't take it or move it. So the bills weren't being covered for George Floyd's family or friends where he lived. This is bad. This is so bad. Now we're getting to the IRS filings we saw from the trailer. $79,644,823. This is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's entrepreneur, political commentator, and best-selling author. He wrote the book about George Floyd, I believe, and the aftermath. Let me check. Let me check I got that right. Let me back up. I won't say anything wrong. No, he didn't write any book. He's an author, but he didn't write that particular book that I just said. He said, I got to slow it down here. He said something here, something interesting. Slow it down and go back. Oh, buy lavish mansions. That's what it stands for. Gotcha. All right, go back to 20 double speed. There we go. He said within days, Patrice Glores actually bought a mansion and flipped it. And we know within the past week, Breitbart reported that she just renovated her backyard garden or somewhere in there, somewhere outside. She renovated. So yeah, she's living the life. Turns out Black Lives Matter bought $6 million Los Angeles, $6 million Los Angeles mansion. Turns out, okay, a matter of bought. Okay, yeah. Why is BLM buying large mansions? Okay, so we got some more people on here. We're about 56 minutes into an 1 hour and 18-minute film. And when I'm done, we're going to take a break and I'm going to do a couple things. And we're going to start a live stream at some point or after whenever Jackie can get on. But yeah, so we'll start about 8:30. I got to do some stuff, upload another video for the channel. But that's what I'm doing. I'm commenting on what's happening. And I'm going to do a full reaction and have a movie review out tonight as well. So stay tuned for all that. So Police Colors, I guess I call it Colors, the co-founder of BLM, hired her. Let me go back. Who she hire? Her mother and her brother. Her brother's a graffiti artist. That's his contribution to all this. Paid her brother $840,000 for security. All right, that was her brother. Let me get the other person right. I'm gonna say this. I'll say he did graffiti, but she hired him for security and paid him close to $1 million in doing that. Oh man, that's ridiculous. So she gave the father of her son $969,459. The BLM gave an $8 million to an out of the country grant, had a big party for Joe Biden at the house whenever he entered the doors to the White House. I won't go any further and say anything more than that. Also, the money she gave to that baby's father or whatever was a company who did event planning and used that company to plan these big parties at the mansion for BLM. Sounds like it's definitely a worthy charity. Definitely worthy charity. So they sent $8 million to Toronto, Canada. All right, the company is called M4BJ, operating as Black Lives Matter Canada, a not-for-profit. They $6.3 million. Let me get that right. 6.3, 10,000 square foot downtown property in Toronto. And it just so happens that this company is run by her wife, Patrice's wife. Candace Owens she was not joking about a BLM funeral. This is absolutely a BLM funeral. And she says, this is where it gets really interesting. Really? Okay, let's go. Another showing it looks like it's Twitter feed, I guess, or Instagram. Well, I guess we're getting into this sleazy stuff now. Okay, so she's not going to use any terms because she doesn't want to be too controversial, but just imagine the three women from Black Lives Matter and what their worldview is like and what their lives are like in terms of relationships. And so she's about to show some pictures instead of talking about it in words. I'm not even gonna repeat this, guys. I'm just gonna watch it. Just when you get to the 59-minute, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna repeat this. Let me do this. Let me just do this. I won't tell you where the money is going. I'll just tell you what they're putting the money for. Think Vanderbilt University. Think that. $20,000, $400,000, $600,000, Oh, I'm sorry. I think she's adding it all together. So it's 200, 400, now 600,000. So 600,000 total. $800,000, a million, 1,200,000 to this point total. Again, think San Francisco and Vanderbilt University was in the recent news. Now 200K, 1.4 million. Now we're getting to some illegal stuff now. Sheesh. Let me say alleged legal stuff. I gotta say that. Oh yeah, this is definitely for Black America. I can see this. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Black America, Black Power. Woohoo! 1.6 million. It's crazy, man. $1.8 million. 200, 2.2 million dollars. So that was an additional $400,000 on top of the 18, 1.8. All right, I'm gonna give a name. I'm gonna give a name here, guys. You can look up yourself. Look up for yourself. Look up Darenicia Duncan. So Darenicia Duncan, just on a live stream, is talking to Joan Inman how they're going to build another resource center where they're going to, which is, I think she said, well, 3 times. Let's go back. Uh, I'm a 3 times. I'm a 3 times the size of our current one. So 2.4 million so far. 2.6. So they bought a property in 2019, but they couldn't do it because some problems with some health issues, whatever. They never really opened it. But then they built another one accordingly to this right next to it. And not a single one of these organizations that she mentioned that I think I called out $2.2 million. None of them have filed their taxes. It's required for charities. Look, I ran a I was head of a company, was a civic organization where we had substantial assets, and you have to be get on top of those taxes. And we're just a JC organization. That's but it was already there in place. I was just there for the 1 year of my term, but even that was, I mean, you had to adhere. We had a firm downtown to look over all of our stuff just to make sure that to make sure we weren't commingling our capital expenses with our charity expenses, because that's a big, big, big no-no. And yet these people can spend $2.2 million across all these different organizations, and according to this, not file anything. So basically, well, this is again kind of in the weeds, but this is tax minutia. But essentially, it looks like they were giving organizations to other Black Lives Matter organizations, Long Beach, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, looks like Tucson, Arizona. But all of these are in care of Allied Media Projects, which is BLM. So it's not really them. So it's another party doing something else. So we don't really know where that money went. And a lot of those organizations, she says, as further research, they train activists, kind of like Police Kalors, who is an admitted trained Marxist. And by the way, I'm gonna give a spoiler. Uncle Tom 2. Uncle Tom 2 basically shows you that white leftists are the ones in charge of these organizations. They just use the black face to, be the, I guess the figurehead or the front man, if you want to look at it in terms of a rock band. And behind the scenes, the agent and whatever is a white leftist. And same thing happened with NAACP and Du Bois. Same thing. Uncle Tom 2 does a really good job. So this is a good movie to watch before, after. But yeah, this is a really deep dive into what they touched on in that particular film. Which, by the way, Uncle Tom 2 is amazing. Check it out. You can see my review here as well on this channel. And I interviewed the director, Justin Malone, for that film as well. So they're talking about training people on bird dogging, which is getting in front of politicians and being aggressive. I never heard that term. Yeah. Do you remember when people were saying that this town doesn't seem like these people need to belong here? The pastor in Minneapolis was like, this isn't people in our area. Even in Kenosha, it's like, where these people come from? And it sounds like to me, it's worth the investigation that through these funneling organizations, they're pushing these people to activate and be able to mobilize whenever something drops so they can just be bam, and there they are. It's similar to what's going on with Antifa that I feel, with, I won't go more into that, but I'll get more into Rumble, which I probably should have done more now. But this is what the film is saying. So it stands to reason. So now she's getting on the phone to talk to some of these organizations who receive money from the Black Lives Matter in care of organizations to see if she can act like she's a leftist and see if she can partake and see what she can find out. None of the calls work. She said only one of the organizations to which BLM publicly donated answered Candace's call. For legal reasons, we're not identifying the organization. This is the actual call. They're actually playing the call. We're trainers. Let me go back. We're trainers, healers, artists, and creators. But most importantly, we are on the front lines. We are fighting for freedom through education. So basically, she's acting like she's a big donor. Say, if I give you $1 million, how are you going to help out? What's going to change? It's funny because Candace used to be one of these, like me. She used to be an activist on the left, and so it's easy for her to play that and talk that language, which is why I so despise BLM because I see through all the crap. I absolutely do, and I can speak the language. Right? You put me in front of one of them, I can speak the language. Oh yeah, I can talk the language, and that's why black conservatives, especially who come over from there, are, I wouldn't say dangerous in the sense of physically, but dangerous in the sense to um, breaking down their narrative, which is something that they have to have. And Candace, right now, by doing this on the phone with this person, she totally has this person hook, line, and sinker. I'm a big donor. I'm gonna give I'm gonna give $1 million, and she's talking to her, yeah, that's awesome, and talking the language. And this woman is just spilling everything, which I can see why the lawyers aren't letting them know who this company is. Packing the court and offering her legal support to bail people out. So if you protest, they have the money, we'll bail you out. The largest financial grant that Black Lives Matter made was to a foundation called Living Through Giving. The amount was $2.3 million. Yeah, this organization makes bag lunches and gives them off with a nice, friendly note. It's a great charity. Awesome charity. Let's find out more. So she went to one of these events. So there's no events nearby. So this person, I guess, let me go back to the name of it. This is a big part. It's called Living Through Giving. So they got $2.3 million, the biggest organization. Candace went to the website. Looks like great thing, bag lunches, um, give it to people who are hungry, I imagine. But there are no events, no past events, nothing coming soon. And so she's trying to find out who it is. So she found this person, and that's where I'm at right now. Who's the over this? His name is AJ. Let me get the name exactly. Hold on. AJ Breland. He owns 3 coffee shops in California. The article in the paper of him opening up this coffee shop has a picture of Patrice Colors inside of it. Nothing suspicious there. Not at all. So she had a relationship with this guy pre George Floyd. So why did she give $2.3 million to this guy who she knew before the George Floyd thing for $2.3 million that has nothing more than a splash page on the website? They invested $32 million in the stock market, even though she went this whole tirade about how they're going against white supremacy, blah 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 blah, all the whole mantra, whatever. But yeah, they're going to tie it right into Wall Street. So basically, she said there's a $2.3 million question that she can't go into further, but it is absolutely suspicious. And if you want to look at something else, look at the Kim Klacik video we did with Kim Klacik and Candace Owens raised some questions. And Kim Klacik was running in Baltimore. She was running for House, congressional. and there were some questions about that whole thing, and that kind of blew up. And so we did a video on that. I thought we were pretty fair about it, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities in the accusations that, or the upstate accusations, the evidence that she presented to what we're seeing here, just on a much bigger scale. Okay, now we're going to Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. We're about 7 minutes away from being over. So yeah, I should be done by 7:30. Yeah, the message is black people can't be safe in white spaces. So they're about to go to the Beverly Hills up in up the Hollywood, the Beverly Hills with the hill sign is a Hollywood sign. You drive up there, some big mansions up there. I've been up there. It's pretty cool. You gotta see some. Candace Owens has courage. She's got guts. So you can talk all the trash you want about Candace Owens, but let's see you try some of this stuff. Go and see these homes, go and see these neighborhoods. I bet you won't do it. So talk all that trash you want about Candace Owens. I don't like Candace Owens, whatever. Oh yeah, okay. Let me see you out here doing what she's doing. Yeah, I didn't think so. Get back behind your keyboard. Okay, so this is she went to oh, this is awesome. What a way to end the film. What a way to end the film. This film's getting 4 stars all the way, 4 stars. This is awesome. So we have Patrice Claus on her, I guess this is Twitter or Instagram. So she's saying this is the video where she was basically freaking out when Candace Owens, a pregnant Candace Owens, a threatening pregnant woman who probably weighs, I don't know, 140, maybe 150. I don't know. I don't insult you if you watch this, Candace. But yeah, as threatening as that is, she's in her gated community freaking out. So they're playing the video right here. She about to cry. So she's peeking through the fence. Let me read this tweet if you indulge me. So Patrice Claus said, "I'm working to be in the right relationship with Black people and Black movement. And while I'm doing that, right wing pundits and media are attacking me and harassing me and my family. Today, Candace Owens showed up to my personal property demanding I come outside while she is Black." Capital B. Okay. She is advancing a right wing agenda. Never mind the fact that you spent $13 million in the stock market. She is dangerous and her followers are dangerous. See why I said dangerous? It's the narrative. That's why she's dangerous. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. She literally wrote that 3 times. Is this one thing when you had to say, we have to repeat things over and over again to get into sort of some sort of trance? We have to see what the F they are doing, and we must challenge it. The backlash, I probably shouldn't say backlash. The backlash against our movement is, I can't say the rest of it. I love the music they're using. It's some kind of whimsical, goofy music just to portray just the whole scene of just being so senseless. Dangerous, dude. It's public property, dude. It's called easements. Easements means it's public. So you can do that. A sidewalk is not your property. Shut up. And she's crying. Oh my God. With her fancy weave and got her little jewelry on. She's looking all done up in her house. Yeah, it must be nice. Going into victim mode. They can go into victim mode like that. She said she can't find a Black life on the property, except for her. You're crying because you know you're dead to rights on what's going on, and they're investigating you, and you're scared about it. You didn't think anyone had the guts to actually dig into what's going on with you. That's why she's scared. So she destroyed her Instagram, wiped her Instagram. She has a mental break. So here we go. The real story is about addiction, George Floyd. It could have been about that. It could have been about him trying to write his life. It could have been all kind of things, but they turned it into something that was totally crazy. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. The media is the most powerful media. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. They control the minds of the masses. That quote is Malcolm X. So now we're going to the end. They're doing some montages of Biden and the narrative we saw, CNN, MSNBC, NBC News. Hey, Jack, you watching this?
Yeah.
Sorry, bringing you on.
You just put me on. I'm sitting here.
Sorry.
You didn't give me any warning. Hello, everybody.
Sorry to do that to you.
That's okay. That's okay. So what did you get? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the very beginning. You got an early release of the movie or something?
Well, it came out at about 5:30.
I even called your wife and said, what is he talking about? Because I went on Daily Wire. I couldn't find it on there.
Yeah, it's right on the website. It says Candace personally paid for a year. Candace Owens personally paid for a year of George Floyd's back rent. Candace Owens did that. As well as removal service of tow service for the vehicles that were abandoned outside his house that nobody else wanted to do.
But who's the property owner?
I think it's going to be Alvin Menenga or Teresa Scott. He lived there. Derek Chauvin has been, I'm just wrapping up here on the movie. Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. Just going to the last part of the montages here. And on August 24th, 2022, Derek Chauvin was transferred from Oak Park Heights to a medium security federal prison in Tucson. Because before Jackie, he was 23 hours out of the day solitary.
I can't believe that he's going to do all that time, because I can't believe it's not going to get overturned for
multiple movie
reasons. What?
George Floyd's. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I've heard that they tried to appeal a couple of things that maybe didn't pan out. But, all my time I spent working in prisons, and there's people that have already done 10 and they're still appealing all kinds of stuff. I don't think he could win an appeal, because everybody's
right.
So, legislating social culture from the bench. But if you follow the law, it doesn't even make any sense.
Let me read this last headline here. George Floyd Square. I don't know if you saw that or not. Minneapolis, there's like this section.
I have seen that.
Yeah. Continues to be an autonomous zone. In 2020, Minneapolis saw a 58% increase in murder. A 58% increase in murder. In 2021, the city recorded the highest number of homicides in 20 years. I wonder why. I have no idea. All right, it moves over. All right. So, Jackie, tell me what your thoughts are from what you've seen so far.
A couple of things. I'm excited because I was thinking about when we thought this, the night of what we thought was going to be the George Floyd premiere. And we really never got to the bottom. I think that she started to make that show about George Floyd, and then she realized she wanted to make an expose on Black Lives Matter.
I missed my microphone was out. Repeat that.
Okay, I think that you remember the night we thought that the show was going to go on, and then it just never appeared. So I'm still wondering, why don't they come out and say what happened? And I think that when she started to do the deep dive she took, she realized a bigger and maybe better story would have been BLM, the corrupt organization, the mafia-like organization that it truly is. And I think that's what but they should give an explanation for it. They shouldn't have just stopped talking about it. And they still really haven't not come clean, but explained to the people how this all transpired.
Well, they may have a gag order, or they may not want to show they may not want to show
their cards.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited. I caught a lot of what you were doing. It sounds to me like, did you hear anything new?
A bunch of stuff. Oh my gosh, everything was new.
What was the biggest bombshell? Because a lot of the stuff you were reading, we sort of knew.
Okay, well, I mean, the whole thing. I didn't really follow the trial, so that's kind of one thing. I didn't realize that they didn't say anything about the evidence in the trial concerning it. Actually, well, that was there, but nothing about past history, the drug use, the fact that there was plenty enough evidence to amount for his death outside of any personal intervention by Chauvin. And that could easily taint it. Nothing about past history, past aggressions, nothing.
Well, I'm just wondering, obviously we're not lawyers, but I think that might have been, no matter what they did, they were going to lose that case, and they might have saved a lot of information for the appeal.
Yeah.
I knew that he had COVID, and we all knew like the terrible drug, there was drugs in his body. And I think the reason that he just sat in the car and waited after the guy told him, I'm going to call the cops about this phony, counterfeit $20 bill, he just went outside and sat in his car. Now, any normal person doing, would have vamoosed, would have amscrayed, but he didn't do that. And I think it's because he was not in his right mind, or like he was so desperate.
Thank you, Brianna Taylor.
He didn't think the cops were really going to come. And what I thought was really, really, I thought it was important was, we saw the booklet, the handbook for the police department showing that very hold of kneeling on someone's neck as part of their training. It was accepted, legitimate police department. And then even worse for Chauvin, worse than Chauvin almost, is like one guy, it was like his first day of orientation and he got time, that, hold up, you could say all, maybe more than one person is guilty, but there's degrees of guilt. And there was two of the other cops' story was like, come on.
They didn't mention those guys.
I don't think Derek Chauvin killed anybody. That guy, between his medical condition and the drugs in his body, etc., there was certain and COVID. And by the way, there was no indication that he actually died from that knee. He died from a cardiac situation was the cause. Oh, remember they changed the cause of death?
I don't remember that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, I know I had that move done to me by a law officer, and it didn't hurt. But if you raise up, it does hurt.
When it hurts. So it's really like a restraining more than a pain. It's not supposed to induce pain. It's supposed to hold you still.
And you can still breathe. It's just you just can't. If
you're not fighting,
you're just there.
Fighting, you can breathe.
Can we stop now? Yeah, it's about it. And he was saying he couldn't breathe in the car. And I did a video as well where I showed that clip. That video did not come out until much later. Had that video come out within a week of that, that probably had to happen earlier. Had to come out within the first day or two. That might have cooled things down some. Well,
this is what I think. There's like normal life, and then there's people that plot and plan and take it's somewhat of a sophisticated organization, and they just moved people into that neighborhood. They flew them in from other places, and they know how to light a match on a situation that's already a little bit, ready to explode. And they poured gasoline on it. And once that started happening, it's almost like the best thing to do is just sit back and wait quietly till all this is over, because you're not going to win an argument because there's too much emotion involved.
Yep, exactly right. And it was at a level that I didn't remember to be. Brought back a lot of memories, because watching that happen every night for several weeks in this country, and an election year, and then with COVID on the horizon, was a very stressful time for all of us. And I don't know how. It's amazing that we kept together as well as we did. And I think we're barely hanging on, though, as a country.
I think that's true. I think there's a lot of people that, they're still going to get up and go to work every day. But all this, it sort of wears on you. Now, luckily, we know God is out for me. I mean, I know God's on the throne, and I don't worry about the final outcome. It's not for me to decide. But I do get a little bit frightened when I started the nuclear war, because there's a lot of things I don't trust. There's people in charge that I don't trust. And I think they'll go to any lengths to have the outcome they want. There's a very popular meme that's going around right now, and I saw it in two different forms, about there are people so evil, they're willing to watch their country burn and rule over the ashes. And I think I see a lot of that. And I also wonder, I mean, are they going to be like, we know that Patrice Cullors and all those people, we know that they've done a lot of illegal stuff, but are they going to be able to get them? And you were talking about that 2.5 that they weren't allowed to talk about. What
2.3.
You said that Candace started investigating that and she had to shut it down?
Well, yes. So the biggest organization that they gave money to was $2.3 million. It was to a person that she knew prior to George Floyd. He looked like a white guy or a Hispanic guy. Anyway, he had 3 coffee shops I'm not sure what area it was, but there's a picture of her pre-George Floyd at his coffee shop. And so she decided to go out and actually contact some more organizations that were in this donor list to see what they were doing, and only could get a hold of one of them. The one they got a hold of, they couldn't divulge the name for legal reasons. But in there, they're basically saying, yeah, we'll take your money and we'll do it for activism, training, spirit, whatever they want to say. And packing, she's used the words, packing the court and getting people off bail, getting the protesters out of jail.
Well, and that is that. I don't remember the name of that organization, but I remember because it was Kamala donated. A lot of people in office donated to that organization to get people released.
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen did as well.
I remember hearing way back when this all was going on that they gave Black Lives Matter gave like a ton of money to somebody's baby daddy. Like maybe
that was it.
Right? Did that happen?
Yeah, that was separate, but yeah, she gave. I didn't write it down, but it was so much information. But yeah, that was in there as well.
Yeah, so I remember that. But I mean, what's going to happen next? That's the question.
Well, this information stuff's going to happen. You know, they're going to say same thing with what is a woman. They're going to say it's fake, whatever. But after about 3 or 4 months, it's all going to come out. Just like this thing with Vanderbilt. I watched Matt Walsh today. Basically said they had a victory where they basically said that you can't do that surgery on kids anymore. And so that's one victory, but they got to expand it to the city, the town, and the nation. So the whole thing with
they paused those surgeries, but they didn't say they were going to eliminate them, right?
Right. He said small victory, but he said it's very rare that a conservative can push back on the left and actually get any kind of progress. So even we see what's going on with the COOF right now, you know, it's coming out now with that video you showed me. It's coming out. And they're like, look, what's up, Pfizer? Seriously, dude?
I really, it's a shame. There's a doctor I follow on YouTube, and I mean, his name is Dr. Sunil Dand, D-A-N-D, if anybody wants to check him out. And he got kicked off a couple times off of YouTube during the past year. But he's really into, like, he doesn't really believe in medicine. He believes in good metabolic health and exercise. And he's really focused on, like, the processed foods we eat and all that. So, you know, he's kind of, you know, he's really focused on sort of natural health. But he's a medical doctor. And he got even kicked off of LinkedIn because of something he put up there. But it's just really, he talks a lot about how America apparently is very unreliable in gathering numbers. And he knows more about this, like especially with medical stuff. And he said Europe and other countries are much better, much more accurate. The results are in sooner. And he's been talking about Portugal and all these other countries, UK, that the numbers are terrible and they're very frightening. And only now in America, I'm seeing, like that politician whose 17-year-old daughter, like mainstream people are starting to talk about these sudden deaths. I was really surprised. Megyn Kelly, she's not really mainstream, but she supported the vaccine. She got her kids, everything. And she just said today on Dave Rubin, she doesn't believe anything about it. And she thinks it's killing people.
All right, let me, we're going to jump off of YouTube here. Everyone here, look in the description. If you're on Rumble already, you're fine. If you're on YouTube, look in the description. There's a link right there to go over the Rumble. If you're on Facebook, there's a link right there as well. I'm going to jump over right now. So I'm going to put this one comment up here, and then we're going to jump over. So give us about 2 minutes, and we'll come back. I wanted to hear what you have to say, Jackie, in more.
Yeah, I realized I knew what you were doing as soon as you started talking.
All right. So anyway, jump on over to Rumble, and we'll see you in a little bit.